Good morning. Welcome to SEC Basketball Power Rankings. A couple of weeks ago in the season, I'm your host, Chris Lee, joined by Blake Lovell and Max Barr. Whoever in the chat had us going as the over-under being 2 minutes late. You nailed it, but here we are. Yes, excited to break down SEC basketball with the NCAA tournament a few weeks in front of us, the conference tournament a few weeks in front of us. Lots to play for. Gentlemen, what a time in SEC basketball.
What a time is right. What a time is right. I was putting in the description this morning for the stream, and it says, does the power rankings after week 16. Oh my gosh.
Goodness.
We've
how
got
did we get here?
2 weeks. 2 weeks of the regular season left. Man, I'm sad. I'm almost sad. I'm excited, but I'm sad.
But the best part is coming, and the warm weather's coming. That'll be nice, too, for those of us frozen here in the Southeastern United States. Anyway, Max Barr, we'll start with the pass to the elbow for you to kick us off with power rankings. We always start at 16. Is there a change? South Carolina's been in this spot for a few minutes. The Gamecocks won their first game over Texas in SEC play on Saturday. Was it enough to move Carolina up the rankings?
It was not. South Carolina still comes in at number 16. They do pick up a big win, big time. Could you imagine if South Carolina, plays 14 SEC games, they only win one of them, and you picked the game that they won? That must be pretty fun and exciting.
Who did that?
Who would have done that? Now, joking aside, LSU, let's just loop them in here. No question about it. LSU's at 15. LSU's been playing some good basketball lately. Was hanging in there with Florida for a while, and then Florida just, does what they do eventually with the waves that they put on you. But LSU, I think this is more South Carolina being at 16, even though they won. I think it's more about LSU playing some decent basketball lately. Blake, what do you think?
Give me South Carolina and LSU over SMU. That's all I got to say when it comes to the bubble. I'll take them both. No, in all seriousness, I think, South Carolina, we knew would get someone. Max Barr knew it. He knew it was going to be Texas by 15 points. He called it. He said a 15-point win for South Carolina. And then, LSU has been playing better. I think we have to certainly note that really over the past probably 2 weeks now. The game, they lost to Ole Miss. Didn't play bad at Arkansas. Got the 2 wins after that. Had a good stretch here against Florida, but the Gators are just really good. And LSU have another chance against Tennessee tomorrow night. So, you can't really flip the order even with South Carolina getting the win because LSU at the same time. It'd be different if LSU was kind of heading in the wrong direction, but they're not. So, there you have it.
South Carolina's got more ACC wins than Miami.
We're 3 minutes, 24 seconds in. We've already been dogging on 2 ACC teams.
That's right.
Listen, I'm going to challenge the chat. This is all I want, okay? I want the chat to tell me over the next hour. I want you to give me SMU's NCAA tournament resume and make it make sense as to why they are on the bubble. That's all I want. That's all I want.
I do not. I think you're going to be waiting a while for that one.
Chris should be able to give me. I mean, Chris is the numbers guy. I want him to try to make it make sense for me. So
it doesn't. Make sense. It doesn't.
Here's my analysis. They've done nothing of note. There it is, right there, all at once.
All right, continue on.
Okay, moving on up. Number 14. We've got Georgia. Georgia here at number 14. They have lost 4 games in a row. Have only won 1 game in February. That was the home win over LSU. Georgia, the 1-point loss to Mississippi State at home to kick off this 4-game losing streak really stings. We said when they dropped that game, wow, we're probably going to be looking back at this one and thinking, oh my gosh, if you just had one more possession or you made one more free throw or something like that and you were able to grab that Mississippi State win at home, man, how the conversation would be different right now. But that's not the way things went. And the Bulldogs are on a bit of a skid here, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought this was one that we sort of saw coming. I just felt like with the schedule getting tougher after the tough opening part of the schedule, they had a couple games in there against South Carolina, LSU, but you could just look ahead and say, where do they find the wins? And that's the discussion we've had for 2 weeks now. Like, where are they going to find the wins? And right now, I don't care how good they've looked at times. They still have 3 double-digit losses in a row to Texas A&M, Missouri, and Auburn. Like this, close only gets you so far when you're where Georgia is at this time of year. So they're not going to put you in the NCAA tournament just for being close. So like they have to win some games here. And now they got to turn around and play Florida tomorrow night, which I think is going to be really tough to win. Now Georgia's not been bad at home. We've noted that, but I just think that's a tough game. And they still got to go to Texas, still got to go to South Carolina. I mean, as of right this second, you picking South Carolina or Georgia in that game? Because I'll tell you who I'm picking. So I mean, that's where we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of where Georgia's at right now. And so they've gotten 2 wins since January the 11th, and that is South Carolina, LSU, the 2 teams we've already talked about that are right below them in our rankings this week. So they've just got to find ways to beat some of these other teams, or it's not going to be enough to get them in the tournament.
And yet, on the topic of teams with better NCAA tournament resumes than SMU, I present to you the Georgia Bulldogs, who have 3 wins. St. John's, Kentucky, and Oklahoma better than any SMU has. It's true.
I like how the Mustangs have just become the bubble barometer for resumes. We're just comparing to the Mustangs.
Like, who else is on this line? Hold on a second. I'm sorry. We're going to just do a little quick segue here. And I don't – because this is within the SEC talk, all right? Because we're comparing these teams to SEC teams, okay? Wake Forest, let's look at Wake Forest's body of work and compare that to what else we see. We're going to do this real quick. And I know some people will be not happy about our ACC bracketology here, but it matters because it's the SEC too. Wake Forest, at the very least, I can give them the nod because why? They won at SMU, so that's a nod ahead. They've also beaten North Carolina, and they've beaten Michigan. So beating Michigan, that's good enough for me. Put them in the tournament. So that works out fine. All right? But when I do look at SMU being the second team, I just can't. I don't know. Like that's the team this year. There's always a team every year that I look at, and I'm like, wait a second. What are we missing here? But I don't know, man. Let's expand the tournament though. Let's keep expanding.
Oh,
yep.
So, please no.
Let's keep expanding the tournament.
I know you're joking.
Am I?
We're just on a decade of horrible ideas. Is with NCAA sports, aren't we? I mean, expanding tournaments, COVID years. We're just on a run. Let's just go ahead and make it 96 teams. Why not?
No.
Anyways.
Max says no. Moving up to number 13, we have the Sooners of Oklahoma. Now, to put some context in our good friend Bart's tourney cast, Oklahoma has a 40% chance of making the tournament. Georgia has a 40% chance of making the tournament, both on the outside looking in. I believe that those percentages are still up there near 50 because of the opportunities left. However, these 2 teams, the Sooners and the Bulldogs, both now at some point this season, we have said, yeah, I'm confident they're in. Right now, the way things have played out, both are on the outside, or at least almost on the outside in real game-to-game scenario here. Sooners at 13.
Yeah, don't let them get hot. The Sooners finally snapped that. I'm not joking when I say that because like they can be pretty good at home, and we've seen that. And Kentucky goes in there on Wednesday. I think that's a tricky game for Kentucky. And now I didn't know if they were going to kind of answer the bell here because we had talked about it. I mean they were just in a rough spot. They played some tough teams, but I didn't know. I thought that may be it, and just be like, all right, they're going to be the team that sort of fades here down the stretch and not even going to be close to the bubble conversation. But now they get a win over Mississippi State. If they beat Kentucky, boom, all of a sudden you're even closer to feeling like you're going to get in. I kept saying I think that magic number is going to be 7 for SEC teams. I'm scrapping that. I'm scrapping it. I think it's 6 now. If it's Oklahoma, it's 6. It's going to be. I'm
Yes.
telling you right now.
Yes.
If
You might be
Oklahoma,
right.
they can get in if it's 6. Absolutely, I'm telling you. I don't know why we kept saying 7. That was a long time ago. We kept sort of trying to figure out the math, but I'm telling you, the way it's working now, they only have to get to 6. I feel very strongly about that. So
Blake, I mean, I hate to keep picking on him. Maybe I don't too much, but again, SMU bubble team. Oklahoma's got wins over Arizona, Louisville, Michigan, Arkansas, Vandy, Mississippi State. 6 wins better than anyone SMU's got. 6.
Despite their
I think they're going to
That seems like a lot.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Despite the non-conference not ranking high in strength of schedule, they still won the top
that.
games they needed to win. You know,
I think non-conference strength of schedule is overrated. Everybody plays bottom feeders. I want to see what did you do against the really good NCAA tournament caliber teams, and they beat 3 of them. Like, what is Oklahoma's record if you put Oklahoma in the ACC?
yeah, it's a good point.
Did Duke Miles go ahead? Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like a few weeks ago, I was saying like Oklahoma's resume. It's so weird because they're not winning many SEC games, but they played Michigan, Arizona, Louisville, Providence in the non-conference, and they won all of them. So, like, is it just the SEC's that tough right now, or is, because you can't call – how can you call Oklahoma, not a tournament team when they went undefeated against all those good teams in the non-conference? It's a tough resume.
Did Duke Miles get his teeth back? I think when you lose teeth and you're a bubble team, that puts you over the edge. If you're fighting that hard, you're going to lose teeth to get in the NCAA tournament. Just put them in.
I agree with that. I think that should be a metric that the tournament looks at, is how many teeth have you lost throughout the season.
Teeth below bubble.
Yeah. There's a good one. All right. You ready to move up?
Yeah.
Number 12. Longhorns. Texas. Also in a weird spot now after they grab the Kentucky win, have the midweek off. They don't play a game Tuesday or Wednesday, and then go to South Carolina and get handled. Get worked. It was a pretty one-sided game. Texas, now Blake was making the jokes how he was right when you think they're starting to go one way. Nope. Start reeling back a little bit. Texas here at 12, now in kind of one of the weirder situations here on the bubble.
Said in a stream on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Central Time that I think Texas is getting closer to lock status because of the way everything sets up for them. And then said at 10 p.m. Central on Saturday night, what in the hell did Texas just do by losing at South Carolina? However, guess what? That wasn't a bad loss. You know why? Because it's a quad 2 loss. It's not a quad 3. It's not a quad 4. South Carolina's in the top 90 in the net. That's not a bad loss at all. It's a bad loss by seeing a team that was 0-13 before. But if you're the committee and you're looking at this and you're saying, oh, we got to play to those metrics, the cult of computers, we got to do all that stuff. Well, I mean, it's just another loss. Like, it's really not that bad if you think about it. So, something to consider. I don't think it's knocking Texas back as much as people think, because this isn't all the years before where the worst team in the SEC or the second worst team in the SEC was in the 150s and the 200s in the net. No, they're in the top 90. So, not a bad loss, except for the fact that you're trying to outpace the other bubble teams, and it takes you a bit of a step back. But remember here, the team to watch the next 2 weeks is, aside from your favorite team, is going to be Texas. They still have 3 games against bubble teams. At Arkansas, home against Georgia, home against Oklahoma. And they're also at Mississippi State in there. Texas is the team that's going to define how many teams make the NCAA tournament from the SEC.
Might be right.
Say that again?
Shall we move to 11? I said you might be right about that. I mean, there's a couple other teams that you could put in that discussion. Oklahoma and Vandy being 2, but
actually, say that again. I didn't hear you.
Max, move on. Let's get this guy out of here. Come on.
What the heck just?
What in the world? I'm
What
getting
is
removed.
going on?
Did I get banned?
You
By the
got a 2-second
moderator here?
timeout.
Oh man. All right.
All right, moving up. Vandy at 11. Vandy comes in at 11. Vanderbilt still tough place to play. They're winning at home. They beat Ole Miss they dropped 3 in a row, but it was home against Auburn, then it was at Tennessee, at Kentucky. So, okay, you would probably expect them to lose those 3. They come back, get the bounce back win at home when they needed it. Vandy up here at 11, guys.
Yeah, it's a big win, like we said on Saturday, Max. After Ole Miss made that run, you're thinking, uh-oh, this is the game that you look back on, and you're like, this is what cost us the tournament. But no, they get a big win. And now, like we said, I think for Vanderbilt, they're at 6. The difference between them and Oklahoma is that Oklahoma has better non-conference wins, I think, without question. And so I think for the Commodores, they just need one more, in my opinion, because you're not going to get faulted if you lose at Texas A&M, although you can't go lose by 50 or something. Home against Missouri, home against Arkansas, at Georgia. So to me, I think as long as Vanderbilt, I think they're going to win probably 2 of the final 4. But as long as they win 1, I think they go into the SEC tournament feeling like they're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, two for sure. And I'm coming around 1. I didn't think it. But here's the bigger question, Max. What did the Bully Ball committee think of Chris Magnon? It was a good performance, except he hit a couple of threes. Did that disqualify him from your rankings for the week?
He's not on the Bully Ball watch list.
Okay.
However, we did talk about him for making an all-defensive team. So,
yeah, they've got A&M. Then they've got who? They got Missouri, I think, coming up this weekend. Arkansas still left on the schedule. Georgia's still there. So going to be an interesting couple of weeks ahead for Vandy, which is, headed towards relevance for the first time in a while.
Vandy's percentage of making the tournament is at 78% right now. So out of that group of 4, out of the group of, the group of 5 actually too, with Arkansas, Texas, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Oklahoma. Out of that group of bubble teams that we've been talking about for a few weeks now, Vanderbilt's got the highest percentage chance to make it right now.
Is that Torvik or who?
Yeah, Torvik.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, moving up. This team was only ahead of Vanderbilt by 1 vote. This was the closest. Well, actually, there was another 1 vote separation, but this was one of the closest in the voting. Ole Miss is at number 10. Vanderbilt obviously just won at home, 5-point win, but Ole Miss had clearly done a little bit more damage to this point in conference play. However, Ole Miss, the eye test, not the best. Lost at home against Mississippi State to lose, both games to Mississippi State this year. And then you get the midweek off. I had the feeling after Chris Beard's post-game press conference, I had the feeling, man, Ole Miss, I know Vanderbilt's a tough place to play, but I just think they're going to come out just with their hair on fire, just super focused, pissed off that they lost at home. And that wasn't quite the case. Ole Miss here at number 10, guys.
Yeah, I think, again, there will be people that'll be like, well, they just played, and how could you put this? But it's the body of work is part of the equation here, but also, I mean, we can't forget that Vanderbilt, 4 days prior just lost by 20 at Kentucky. And so, yeah, I mean, you have to put all that in the context here. But, I mean, it's close now, especially if you're talking about just a neutral court, not playing in Memorial Gym. Like, I don't know that Ole Miss would be more than a couple-point favorite against Vanderbilt, just based on that fact. And I just don't think they're playing well right now. And I think that's kind of what we've talked about over the past couple of weeks. Even in games they won at LSU, South Carolina, there were just some things you could pick apart, come back home, lose by 10 to Mississippi State, go lose at Vanderbilt, and now have one of the toughest remaining schedules. Still got to play Auburn, Tennessee, Florida. The Auburn and Florida games are on the road, and play an Oklahoma team that's kind of desperate. So brutal schedule here the rest of the way for Ole Miss, and they got to figure some things out because if not, I think they're, you don't want to get, like we said, I don't think they're going to fall like into that 8-9 range or anything like that, but still, it's all about seeding now for teams like Ole Miss and Mississippi State and those kinds, and you definitely want to make sure you avoid any 8-9 scenarios because, remember, keep this in mind, if you're an 8 or 9 this year, well, guess who your second-round opponent's going to be if you win your first game? It's got to be Duke by virtue of the way it's going to play out. So I just don't think you want that right now. So,
what is the latest injury to Matt Morrell? He played 12 minutes. He's been banged up off and on all year. I thought that really hurt Ole Miss. Sean Padula I thought was very good in the Vandy game and leading kind of their comeback, and so was Malik Dia. But, I mean, that was a piece that's missing, and I know they're deep, Max, but I feel like if they get him back closer to 100%, that looks like a different team.
Yeah, that was when we were talking. It was one of the reaction streams we did Saturday. I was talking about how, like, I get the feeling that whatever the report is out of Ole Miss on the injury, Morrell's on the injury report is probable or something. Is that like they know he's going to play, but he's barely practicing and he's not getting any reps, and then it's like we're just going to I don't know. There's really not much. I've tried to find it. There's not much info out of Ole Miss on it, but you got to think it's something because he's not himself right now. Definitely.
Well, and let's just talk about this too real quick. I mean, we've been mentioning this for the last little bit. Like the Chris Beard, the Indiana stuff is just not gonna go away, I think, until the end of the season. And so you never know, distraction wise and all that, how that can play into things because it's every day now. And I know people are mentioning other candidates and all that, but he's certainly. I mean, Rick Pitino flat out. When Rick Pitino comes out and publicly just says, "Hey, shut down the coaching search right now. Go hire Chris Beard." I mean, that's going to be something that's going to be talked about for a while until we know exactly where Indiana's headed. So,
and didn't Beard do didn't he have a little like snippet in a press conference or an interview where he talked about Indiana a little bit? I thought
don't remember what he said. Maybe he did.
I thought he had a little. Maybe it was about Bobby Knight or something. I don't know, but I felt like he had a little hint there. I was like, why did he say that? But we're just speculating. Moving up, Hail State, Mississippi State here at number 9. Mississippi State, we were on them about 2 weeks ago. We were like, oh boy, this league is kind of chewed them up over the second half of January there. The boys have responded. They did fall victim to a Oklahoma offensive onslaught, putting up 93 at home. But before that, they had wins against Ole Miss on the road, and then the really nice win, probably their best win of the season, or at least for some time, beating Texas A&M at home 70-54. Best defensive performance of conference play for Mississippi State. I know they lost the Oklahoma game, but my vibes, my outlook on Mississippi State, it's a bit more positive than it was to start February.
Yeah, again, this is where this season is not played in just one game. We have to remember what they did 5 days prior by just completely, obliterating Texas A&M. So I think that's where, okay, they lost at Oklahoma by 6 against a bubble team. They just beat, a top 10 team at home by 16 before that. So, yeah, I don't really penalize Mississippi State for that. I think it was a good week for them overall by getting that Texas A&M win. And now, go play Alabama on Tuesday, which, I think, remember the first time around, those two teams played a pretty good game there. That was the end of January. So, yeah, that should be a fun one. And then I think I think Mississippi State could finish strong here. After that, home games against LSU and Texas, then at Arkansas. So, again, I think we're finally to that point. They need to stay out of that 8-9 range. And I feel like as long as they win those 2 games against LSU and Texas, I think they'll stay out of that 8-9 scenario for the Bulldogs.
Is it just me, or is there a team you have a harder time getting a grasp on from week to week than this one right now?
Well, other than Kentucky.
I was just going to say.
But Kentucky's got, more valid reasons for that, I guess, is a good way to put it.
I think the confusing thing that we're dealing with Mississippi State is normally they are rock solid at home, and they weren't able to finish off some of those big home games that usually they would grab. But when you look back at it and you look at their losses, they definitely should have won some, and probably are looking back on this if you're a State fan and thinking, gosh darn it, how did we not come out with that win there? That would have been big for our seeding right now. However, look at who they've lost to in SEC play. It was a healthy Kentucky team that put up 95. You were at Auburn. You were at Tennessee. You lost a close one to Alabama at home and then ran into a buzzsaw against Missouri at home. And then you lost to Florida at home. So those are all teams in the top half of the conference. I know it's at home and you should win those. I'm not making excuses. But when we look back at it, there's really not many stinker of performances for Mississippi State. You know what I mean?
Well, here's where I'm coming from. Just the last two games are illustrative of that to me. At least I've had a hard time. I bet I've missed more Mississippi State picks than I've missed anybody this year. And they weren't playing that well a couple weeks ago. Then they beat Ole Miss in the rematch game on the road. They get Texas A&M, who's playing about as well as anybody in the league or was. They clocked them at home, which snapped, a 3-game home losing streak. And then you're like, okay, if you want a road game right now in this league, Oklahoma's on your list of teams you'd probably like to play. If you can't get South Carolina or LSU, and maybe even with those teams.
I don't know.
Oklahoma have been so poor.
They've been okay at home, though. Oklahoma's been not bad at home.
Right, but I mean, it's relative, right? You play anybody in the road in this league, and it's tough. So relative to that kind of felt like a spot you wanted, and then they give up 93 there, which Oklahoma can score. I'm just saying, this is why I have a hard time figuring out what they are.
Yeah.
It feels like just when you start to feel like you've got a grasp on where it's headed, something takes a U-turn somewhere, for better or for worse.
Law of averages with Mississippi State, in my opinion. They were never going to lose that many home games in a row. Away games, they had been on a hot streak. They're playing with house money on the road. And then it just kind of all goes back to the middle this week where they get a big home win and then they go lose on the road. So I think, and that's probably how it's going to finish out, right? Their road games are at Alabama, at Arkansas. They're probably underdogs in both of those two, with the way Arkansas is playing. They're going to be the home favorites against LSU and Texas. Would I be surprised if they go 2-2 the rest of the way? And maybe they're no longer Jekyll and Hyde. They're kind of, all right, well, it's back to just kind of how you expect. Or maybe they go beat Alabama on the road, lose at home to LSU, and then all of a sudden we're just like, here we are once again. So
there you have it with Mississippi State. Moving up, I think this is a season high. If it's not a season high, it's as high as a ranking as I can remember back.
Well, they may have started this high, but they may have completely just quickly fell off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The highest ranking in some time for the Hogs. Arkansas at 8. They are coming off of that maybe the best win of the season, beating a red-hot Missouri team who, whatever metric you look at, is ranking top 5, top 3 in the nation over the past 2 months. Arkansas, they're coming off of the 2 straight road games where they lost to A&M by 8, Auburn by 7, and before that, the last loss was Alabama by 4. So they're playing tough. They get that huge win on Saturday when they needed it, and Bart Torvik, real quick, has their percentage of getting in at 66%. So on the right side right now are the Hogs.
Yeah, I mean, it's like with Arkansas, like we look at their record, we're like, all right, they're 5-9 in SEC play. They're 16-11 overall. How do we weigh the good performances and losses versus like actual wins? And I think that's kind of where we are right now. It's like from a performance standpoint, they are playing really well right now. And I think it's like, look how well, I mean, they had a shot at Auburn. They had a shot at A&M. Like you said, they made the run there at the end against Alabama, had a shot to win that game. So Now it's just converting those kind of performances into wins, which is what they have to have the rest of the way. They got one on Saturday, big one against Missouri. And now I think they got a great chance. I mean, one this morning was like, are they going to finish 4-0? I'm like, they could. When you look at their schedule, home against Texas, at South Carolina, at Vanderbilt, home against Mississippi State. I think they're probably losing one in there, somewhere. But I feel like that they're in a good spot. I mentioned earlier, I think in terms of confidence level, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, probably 1-2 for me right now. Don't know what to make of the other three in terms of bubble making the tournament. But yeah, I think the way they're playing, Cal in February, we're here. Like legitimately, when the calendar hit February, that is when everything changed. They won in Kentucky on February the 1st. We're back to the same theme every single year. We always say Cal's teams play their best in February and on. And obviously I know they lose tournament games. I get it. But just, yeah, like they're playing really well right now.
Well, you might even start the timeline a little sooner. January 18th, last time they had Boogie Fland for a game. Since then, they played 9 games, really have not played a bad game yet. Next one after that was beating Georgia at home at a time where Georgia was playing okay. And then they lose to Oklahoma at home, which wasn't, not great, but Oklahoma's not a bad team. Point is that they haven't had a stinker of a game in those 9 games yet.
The defense has
They
gotten
did
a
get
lot
better from
too.
Kentucky on, but yeah.
Right now in KenPom, 19th in the nation in defensive efficiency. So they're really leaning on that. Blake, have you seen the chat lately? There's a bit of an excitement brewing for maybe something coming up.
Something coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could the people be wanting to move, or do they want to save the moving for later and already fill out a bracket? Maybe they want to fill out a bracket right now.
Oh.
Well, you can't because that bracket's not available. We haven't seeded the tournament yet, folks. Let's not get carried away. But if you want to take your experience to the next level in March, you can do it with our friends at BracketBids because you can enter into that free pick'em contest or start an auction draft league with your friends, family, or coworkers. Everyone starts out with the same bidding dollars. You have to outwit and outbid your league mates to secure the teams you think will go the distance. Max and I did our gut bracket part 2 on Saturday night. And I know someone asked earlier, may have been Nick. I missed it on Saturday night. Who won the national championship in the mock tournament? Believe it or not, Max and I had the exact same Final Four. And didn't we pick the same champion?
I think we both picked Auburn, right?
I think we both picked Auburn. That shows you how much the gut bracket will get you. But I picked Auburn twice in our 2-part gut bracket last week. Max went Houston and Auburn in his gut bracket part 3 coming tomorrow. So we're going to fill out another one, and it's just going to be tremendous. So, of course, bracket bids, a lot of brackets in March. You get to choose from those multiple scoring models, including the upset bonuses to reward the bold picks. Track your teams with live in-game scoring. Watch the standings shift in real time. Further your team's advance, the higher you climb the standings. That's how it works. For league play, use that promo code SC16 for 40% off. Sign up now, SC16, 40% off. Download the Bracket Bids app today or visit them at bracketbids.com. San Diego, Max, was the team that they were Cinderella, I think, for us, the Tritons.
Yes. I think I had the Tritons in the Elite Eight.
I had an Auburn, Florida national championship. We both had Missouri in the Final Four as well. And I think we both had Duke there also. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Big. We are a part-time San Diego Tritons company now as well. So
we are a big fan of the Tritons.
Yes. By the way, KenPom's Player of the Year rankings. Did you see who's number 10 in the nation? It's San Diego's best player, Aniwaniwa Tate-Jones. Yeah.
Say that again?
Aniwaniwa Tate-Jones.
That's a great job. By the way, Kate's calling you out, saying I'm the one carrying the A&M flag after picking them further in the gut bracket. I had them all the way, I think, in the Elite Eight. Max, you took them out via the hands of Clemson, I think. I could be wrong on that. But.
Yeah, I'm big on Clemson this year, but I know. I'm sorry. Maybe it's what Blake does with Missouri. He's obligated to pick against.
Yeah.
I think I'm starting to take that on for my Aggies. Don't get me wrong, though. I'll be rooting for them.
Maybe we should take up this challenge. Have Chris create a bracket. Just go through and just make our picks. So, anyways, all right. Let's speed up here.
Speed along. Here we go. Number 7. The Cats. Well, half of the Cats, because right now they are still same old story. Cats coming off of a week where, man, it was that seems like a long time ago right now. Geez, where I'm looking back at it. But on Wednesday, 82-61 over Vanderbilt, crushed them at home. And then on the road at Alabama for the rematch. That one was a little bit more one-sided. However, Kentucky had a really nice start to the game, but Alabama took over towards halftime, second half. Cats here at number 7, guys. It's been kind of the same old story with the injuries.
Yeah, I mean, look at Kentucky's past 2 weeks. They beat Tennessee at home by 11, a double-digit home win, then they go lose at Texas. A 21-point home win against Vanderbilt, and then they go lose by double digits at Alabama. It's like, so with the injuries, I mean, this is just kind of what it is right now. You know, if they can hold, they're able to get wins at home, they're going to be fine. Because you look at the remaining home games, they got Auburn and LSU. So the road games are tricky. They're at Oklahoma and at Missouri. So as always, I mean, what else do we say about Kentucky? They're just, until they get a full roster back, rank them wherever you want to rank them. It's just, it is what it is right now. Like, this is the situation they find themselves in. If you feel like we should have a perfect ranking for them, like they should be here or they should be there, that's fine. Like, I don't know where to put them without a full team. I mean, it's hard to weigh some of that stuff because they're still getting wins even with the injuries, but they're also losing some games where you could say, well, if they had those guys, they would have won. So it's the same argument both ways. So, yeah.
I think Chris is muted.
Oh.
Possibly.
Sorry, that's the Oreo mute. I know you guys will, well, we'll do it as a channel. You guys will probably be doing it because I'll likely be doing some baseball stuff at the time. But that Oklahoma-Kentucky game in Norman this week, I mean, that's got to be one of the hardest games to figure that we have looked at all year.
It's going to be fun to watch. Be a lot of points.
Yeah. Right.
I'm ready to make my pick right now.
Don't do it, Blake. Don't do it.
I'm not. Spoiler. I'm not making my pick yet.
All right. Cats at 7 here. Hopefully they can get healthy ASAP. Moving up to number 6, we have got the Aggies, who are coming off of one of their rougher weeks of the whole season, dropping 2 in a row. One on the road to Mississippi State, where it did not look good. That was a Hail State through and through. And then on Saturday, a gritty, tough, but surprisingly well refereed. That was one of the main talking points.
Wow, can you believe that? We had a game in the chat where people, well, not everyone, but we were surprised to be like, of all the games you think about with these two teams, Tennessee and Texas A&M, the referees would play a story. They did not. Now, don't look at social media because they probably did, but overall, yeah, I agree with that.
Yep, A&M comes off. They were on the 5-game winning streak, where the best win of that streak was winning at Missouri, which was a great win first weekend of February. But the past 2 games, 54 points, 69 points, haven't reached 70 points since February 1st. Guys, those offensive numbers, percentages are starting to catch up to them as teams are just absolutely going all sell out towards the glass.
Yeah. You stole a little bit of my there. And of course, this is last year. They went through the same type of thing, although this may be a little bit worse in terms of points. And then they, in March, you couldn't stop them offensively.
Their offensive numbers, I know it was said a few minutes ago that I'm carrying the flag for A&M, but I just, when we get that NCAA tournament bracket and I see them play a Penn State clone from 2 years ago, I'm going to sit there and be like, oh man, what do I do? Because I don't like the idea of them playing a team that can get red hot shooting wise. And I know it's like Missouri, they beat Missouri on the road, right? And I think that was one where you saw the defense kind of overcome the offensive firepower of Missouri. But I look at some of the other teams that they've lost to this season, and I'm just thinking, man, I don't know. Like there is just something about it where I'm very curious to see. I mean, Texas Tech's a top 10 offensive team now. Now again, that game was played a long time ago, but that's what worries me about them is just when they're going to find themselves in and especially in the NCAA tournament, we say how games are officiated is going to matter. I mean, look, Cade says it again. It's like you got to love the defense, but
yeah,
it is kind of wild how many good wins they do actually have given the shooting percentages. And that's what I said. You could, if you did a blind resume and you just put Texas A&M shooting percentages, you would say that team's 11-17 or something. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of where we are with them. But they're still going to win games based on their defense. They're still going to win games based on the playmaking ability. And they're scheduled the rest of the way. I'm not calling this the demise of Texas A&M, but home against Vanderbilt, at Florida, home against Auburn, even at LSU, I think is a tricky game for the Aggies. So I hope they finish strong because that gives them a stronger seed in the tournament and gives them a better chance to go further. But I don't know. This is kind of a weird stretch for them to finish this.
Yeah, Manny Obaseki has almost become non-existent for this team. The past 4 games, 0 points, 0 points, 2 points, 2 points. This is the exact time last year where he flipped the switch and he went on that 18 points a game, 50% from 3 over the last 8 games or something. This is right at the time where he flipped that switch and it was like, oh my gosh, A&M's scoring 80 on the regular now. Does he do it again? Is it March Obaseki time? Because they could use an extra guard scorer right now. But that defense, still number 6 in the nation. It's not going anywhere. All right, moving up. Now, this is I said the highest ranking in some time with the Hogs earlier. This is the lowest ranking in some time for the Tide. The Tide. Our Alabama here at number 5. Yep.
Oh,
Alabama.
Chris is stunned.
Alabama at number 5 comes off of winning the Kentucky game at 96-83 at home on Saturday. But before that, 98-110 road loss where they didn't have a lead for a second at Missouri. And before that, the home loss where they didn't have a lead for a second against Auburn. Alabama here at number 5.
I get why Alabama landed at 5. I don't agree with it.
Well,
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, there you go. Why not?
Well, okay, I'm the guy, and this is the case in our baseball. I'm the one who is less swayed by recency than you guys, and I get it. Beat them head to head, but body of work for the year still matters for me.
Absolutely.
They being Missouri.
Yep. So a wire-to-wire 20-point bludgeoning where one team doesn't lead for a single second doesn't overweigh the body of work for you?
I don't know. Let's see what we do when we get to Florida, Tennessee, I guess.
Well, they both did it to each other.
I know, but you get my point. You can do that with a lot of teams. Like, you can say, well, this team did this and whatever. That was also a road game, which, we know how that goes. I don't know. Look, Alabama has not played as well as Alabama has played. I'm just not willing to throw out all that stuff based on, they had won, 7 games in a row until Auburn and then Missouri back-to-back? Just saying.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think, though, the way I see it, and I've said this all year, when we're doing a power ranking on February 24th, I can't just look at what someone did in early December and say that weighs the exact same as what they just did a week ago. And I feel like I know the averages are like, well, average wise, okay, it all averages out. But right now, based on what I just saw and taking into account what I've seen this season, I'm probably still feeling pretty good about the next team's chances to beat Alabama on a neutral court at this very moment. And
let's loop them in. Loop in.
Yeah, I mean, we know who number 4 is.
Yeah.
So I know Missouri just lost at Arkansas. But yes, Alabama is still probably a number 1 overall seed in the tournament, right? We all understand that. We get it. But this is we're not the NCAA tournament committee. We're not seeding this. We're having a fun power ranking that we do every single week. And so I think you could absolutely make the argument that Missouri is better than Alabama right now. Because for one, we just saw it. And number 2, I just think based on recent results, I think there is reason to say that Missouri is better right now. But again, it's kind of still using a lot of that. And so these are not a science. So I tend to get further away from the full body of work this time of year. And just, like you kind of tie in, well, we just saw these 2 teams play. And if we brought up the Torvik splits and all this other stuff, right? I mean, Missouri's been a top 3 to 5 team in the country for the past month and a half now. So I don't feel that bad about putting Missouri ahead of Alabama. So.
And if you look at that game, it's not like, okay, well, Alabama shot 2 of 500 from 3. They missed 400 free throws. It was a fluke game. It was a fluke. Alabama hit 13 threes, shot 42% from 3. It wasn't like, I mean, Caleb Grill only hits 3 threes. They only hit 9 as a team. So it wasn't like it was fluky.
Just a little checking.
Just quickly, I want to throw this in here, Chris. So also, too, if we're going to use this and talk about Alabama's win against Kentucky, right? Well, you can't have it both ways. If we're going to knock Kentucky and say that they're not that good right now and all that, but then say that Alabama's win over Kentucky is like one of the best wins of the season or something, like, you know what I mean? Like that's completely different because, and so I don't know. Like Alabama's a weird team for me right now. And Chris brought it up. They had won how many games in a row, but these past couple performances, those Auburn, Missouri ones, I know those are tough games, but I don't know. There is something about them right now where I'm just like, I don't know what it is, but anyways.
Well, I agree. And I feel like every team has had one of those. There's just something about them I don't like this year's stretch for a week or two, other than Auburn, and maybe Florida. But that's just the league. It just beats you up again. It's the beauty contest. I don't think that people should be getting out of whack over power rankings this late in the year where teams are separated by 1 spot. Because, tune in next week, it might be different. I think it's really close, but I did this just for fun. Like when we're ranking teams in the league for scoring versatility, give me your top 5. Like not depending on one guy or even 2 guys, but like the team that can just get points all over the floor. Give me your top 5 quickly, just off the top of your head.
Top 5 teams?
No. Scoring versatility. In other words, when you think of teams that can get points from a lot of places, they're not dependent on one guy. You can put 5 guys on the floor that can all score. Like who are the teams? Just rough ranking teams in your head. No. Scoring teams. Scoring. Offense.
Right.
Forget
top
defense.
5 teams, like top 5 scoring teams. Yeah. That's what I'm asking.
My head is
what? I should have known. Good grief.
What? I mean, okay, I know where you're heading at. Like, yeah, I mean, it's very simple. Let me go to KenPom. Auburn 1, Alabama 3, Kentucky 5, Florida's 4, Missouri 6. So you got 5 of the top 6 in the SEC. I'm going to go with those 5 teams in whatever order you want to put them in.
All right. I was looking like how many teams, like let's compare Alabama and Missouri because those are both teams where you can get a lot of points from a lot of places, right? Alabama's got 6 guys who are scoring 15 or more per 70 possessions. Missouri's got 1 more than that. And Tony Perkins is that close to being an 8th. That's why they're so good. They just can, like, I know sometimes it becomes with Missouri, like and with Alabama, it can be the Mark Sears show With Missouri, it can be the Caleb Grill show for burst. But I think what makes both these teams so tough is they can just get points from so many guys, including guys off their bench.
Yeah. All righty. Moving on up.
I still think Alabama probably winds up in the Final Four. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, I mean, I said you can actually make. I made that argument last weekend. I said I still would not be shocked if Alabama's the last team standing. I'm going to be honest with you. So,
hey, and it's nice to see Mark Sears 65 points in the past 2 games. Mark Sears he's all right. I think he heard Brett. All right, moving up. Number 3, the Vols, Tennessee. Coming off of a big week. The Vols are 5th overall in KenPom. They are coming off of the road win at Texas A&M, where I think they were an underdog on the odds. I'm pretty sure they were an underdog. I think about a 2-point underdog there. They win that one coming off of the Vandy home win. They have won 5 of their last 6. The Vols still have KenPom's number 1 overall defense. Vols here at 3, guys.
Yeah, I think we were unanimous on this, weren't we? Top 3.
Yep.
I think so.
Yeah. So not a surprise. I mean, again, Tennessee's played ever since Max and I were knocking them a month ago. They played pretty well. And so, yeah, I mean, it started with that thumping of Florida. We talk about calendar hitting February for Arkansas. Calendar hitting February for Tennessee has gone pretty well for them too overall, outside of just that loss to Kentucky. So, yeah, I mean, I think you certainly see now with a win like that at A&M, I think that kind of shows you that the defense is always going to be there. If Lanier goes off, he's not going to score 30 every game, but with that kind of offensive upside that he has, I mean, we talk about if you're picking top 5 players that have upside like that offensively, he's in there. And I just think, yeah, you're looking at a situation where with Tennessee right now, playing well, right time of year, or the right time of the year you want to be playing like this, and so, yeah, we'll see if they can finish strong. Their schedule's interesting the rest of the way too. They got at LSU on Tuesday. We said it, LSU's been playing better. Home against Alabama on Saturday. Then they're at Ole Miss, home against South Carolina. So those 2 road games, I think I'm curious to see how those games unfold for Tennessee, LSU and Ole Miss, because we've talked about kind of those teams. LSU's playing better. Ole Miss has been up and down. So, yeah.
I think that was a great litmus test for Tennessee on Saturday. The thing that we always worry about with them is do they have one of those games where they come out and score 51 points? And, like, if you're making a list of the teams in the spots that could happen, I think A&M on the road would be one of the first teams you'd mention. So I thought to go in there and play the way that Tennessee did and really control the game. Am I imagining this? But, I mean, they were favored to win most of the second half, looking at the victory probability graph on KenPom. And it felt like that way when you're scoreboard watching with them, as they were kind of in control. I think to go in and do that in that spot was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I just think if Zakai Ziegler continues this level of play, Tennessee is going to be just fine. And he's just getting better and better and better, playing incredibly. And I really think I think Barnes has kind of found something there with the lineup combos, with going small, adding in Meshack when you need the defense. It's a little bit more fluent for me. It's still far from perfect, but I'm less concerned with the offense than say I was maybe at the end of January there. It's still not perfect, but I like what I've seen. The other thing for Tennessee, guys, is Igor Milicic. He hasn't been doing too much offensively. Only had 5 points against A&M. They didn't need him, right? That's kind of the point I'm trying to make. A few weeks ago, we were talking like, geez, they got to have Milicic because Lanier wasn't doing as much. Lanier, 21 points, 30 points past 2 games. I like what I'm seeing from the Vols.
All right, Max. Sean has asked for this. Let's see. He wants Auburn 2, Florida 1.
You can't always get what you want, Sean. The Gators are number 2, but that might be number 2 in the nation as well. Florida has just been quite literally, we've called a few different teams a machine this year. I think the way Florida is playing right now is the most accurate definition of a machine. They have not had a single-digit game since they beat Auburn in Neville Arena. This team is just playing lights out, guys. I don't know what else to say. They're playing lights out.
If we do the body of work argument, obviously Auburn's body of work is just, it's unlike anyone else's in college basketball. We've talked about this. If we're playing like the game of like right this second, who is playing the absolute best? We could absolutely use the Florida argument to put them at 1, right? I mean, I think we could. So I think that's really all I have to say. That's how good they're playing right now. Like they're tremendous. And I know they had the stretch where they fell behind.
Let's talk about them together. Let's talk about them together.
Well, I mean, Florida beat Auburn at Auburn. I mean, it's the best win for any team this season. I mean, let's call it what it is. But like we said, it's still, I mean, you're still kind of looking at it from that standpoint. And the difference is, and I know some people are saying we use different rankings for each team, and I understand. Like it's, again, this isn't a science, but Auburn's still winning these games, except for the Florida one. They're still winning them. Like that's where we're at with Auburn, is to say, well, they've only beat Auburn, or only beat Arkansas by 7. Oh, man. Team sucks. They only beat Arkansas by 7. They only beat Georgia by 12, right? That's where we are right now with them. You know what I mean? And so I just think that's where this does get complicated, because we've never seen a team like Auburn from a metric statistical standpoint and all that, right? So do we knock a team for only winning by a certain amount of points? Is that how good they are at this point? That we have to start knocking them because they're not winning by at least double digits every game? So, I don't know.
The complaint is that we switch lanes for teams. I saw it. I put it up on the board. Hang on a minute. They're right, because you know what? You use what is loudest. Sometimes you do use this for this team and that for that team. But when something's screaming at you the way Auburn's resume is, and I know that Florida beat them there, but the number of incredible wins, it's ridiculous. And that's, I think that's how we all broke the tie. Well,
Big Baller Brett, your only question is if it's who's playing better right now and head-to-head matters, why not put Florida ahead of them? Well, that's not all that matters, though. That's not it. That's not the only criteria.
That's the point I was just making.
Yeah, like that's not the only criteria we're using. So it can't just be that. It has to be more than that. So
also, fine. Let's not forget, just like a week ago, 10 days ago, they went to Alabama in the most hyped up game of the entire year and didn't trail for a single second. So,
okay, somebody's asking, are the wins ridiculous? Okay, here's your list that Auburn's done. Houston, Iowa State, Memphis, Duke, North Carolina, Ohio State, Purdue, Missouri, Texas, Mississippi State, Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Vandy, Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia again. Yes, that's ridiculous.
Now, come on, Big Baller Brett. Come on now. Come on. Come on, Big Baller Brett. We can't play that game.
I like what you've got to admire the game. You've got to admire what he did there.
Yeah, Auburn did beat Duke, by the way. It's just a slip of the tongue. We're all aware, guys. I promise you, we all know that Duke beat Auburn. It's just a slip of the tongue there. It's okay.
Sorry.
We get it. But let's just bring it up just so we're clear. All right.
Yes. We
are also
Duke.
Chris Lee.
We're power ranking
2 losses.
Two number 1 teams, 2 number 1 seeds.
It's like, what are we doing here?
We're both going to get number 1 seeds in the tournament. So it's a good spot to be for both teams. It's a good spot to be. How about this? If just for the record, as we put a bow on this, Florida, Auburn meet up in the SEC tournament. Neutral court. Both teams are playing their hearts out. They want to win that game. Who are you picking? Oh! Oh,
See, and that's the problem. I mean, that's legitimate. I mean, to me, I don't know. I might lean Florida, but the problem is I've been wrong about stuff all year. It's not going to stop. I'm going to be wrong about something else tomorrow. When I have uncertainty, I lean on what have you done. That track record of what have you done is amazing. Doesn't even do it justice.
Well,
so
I'll say
your pick
this,
would be
and you're picking. We're doing gut bracket part 3 tomorrow. You know how close I came to picking the Gators to win the whole thing on gut bracket part 2 on Saturday. So let's see if I can crown the Gators tomorrow. I bet I can. Let's look at the bracket. So, all right.
I feel like like we're judging Miss Team USA or something. The cattiness, the pettiness, the rivalries, all that stuff that goes with it.
Guess what? I will take people in the chat right now telling us this, telling us that about logic. And listen, if you came here for logic, you've come to the wrong place. Let's call it what it is. But in all seriousness, like, look how many people we have in the chat right now. It's February. We're a week away from March. Not even a week away, right? I don't have no idea. How many days not that far away. Saturday. March is Saturday. Is that correct?
oh man.
Oh, man.
Oh man.
People are excited. Historic year for SEC basketball. All these teams are they're ready. Even South Carolina said, you know what? We want to join in on the fun right now. They got to win. LSU's playing better. All 16 teams have decided it's almost March. So, there you go.
Holly's right. This is power rankings. There's a rule. You have to leave the logic at the door when you're coming into power rankings.
Overreaction and emotion when it comes to power rankings. Okay? Yes. That's what we do here.
And bribes. So, we accept bribes.
And bribes. We didn't tell you guys, but Blake actually sent us another $20 super chat before the show, and of course, noted Auburn fan Blake. That's what tipped the scales here. Auburn was the winner to number 1. But we appreciate Blake. All right. Sanders moving. If you want to move on out of here, if you said, you know what, I'm done with the power rankings. I don't want to watch SEC basketball anymore. That's how much I despise the power rankings today. Then you can move out to the Big West and watch the San Diego Tritons because, my goodness, yes. Gut bracket tomorrow. We're probably we have them in the Sweet 16 on Saturday. We might have them. We might have them in the Final Four tomorrow.
Yep.
You never know. So if you want to head on out to another conference, start supporting another, out there. And Max, we may have to start doing some Big West power rankings. Maybe that's our next step here in terms of our career trajectory. You can do it with our friends at Sanders Moving, who we know, formerly known as Ted R. Sanders Moving, and formerly known as Sanders Logistics, your friends and mine, a leader among moving companies in Nashville, Tennessee, and the surrounding area. Their team of professional movingers, let's see if Chris gets that added to the count, are focused on delivering efficient, hassle-free moving at an affordable price. Whether you're moving across town, moving across the country, moving to Antarctica, moving to Spain, moving anywhere else that you want to move, if you like to move it, so does Sanders Moving because they have you covered. Visit them at tedrsandersmoving.com.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Holly, we will get this updated. I've tried. I can't make it work. We'll have to turn this over to the official technical side of things, a.k.a. Max. We'll get it fixed.
Nice. How about this from JJ? How about something we can all agree on? This is the best basketball season in a long time. Music to my ears.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a quick stat, just because I want to put a pin on Auburn. All right, here we go. Ready? How many times has Cooper Flagg this year reached the stat line of at least 20 points and 10 rebounds? How many times do you think? 20 points, 10 rebounds, Cooper Flagg. 20 and 10.
18.
Oh, there's no way it's that many, is it? 5.
4. So
What?
Flag has done it. Yep, Flag has done it 4
wow.
times. Broom has done it 15. Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Just
what I
sit
call
on
that?
And
stat
miss
for a little
and miss
bit.
time.
Yep.
I call that a sweep of the National Player of the
Yes.
Year awards, is what I call it.
20
Against
points,
the best
10
conference
rebounds,
Mm.
we've ever seen.
Yeah, I was gonna say who played the
4
tougher schedule.
to 15. 20 and 10.
4 times? That's it?
Yep.
Man.
Against an inferior schedule.
Max, should we add in tomorrow on the gut bracket picks? Should we also do just a little quick SEC tournament gut bracket? Should we maybe go that route? What do
How
you
did we
think?
not think of that? Carter.
I got an idea. Impromptu. Are you ready? We're doing it right now. Look at
yes!
this. You got a little extra.
Let's go.
5 minutes.
Yes!
We're gonna do this. Let's do it right now because
Yes!
everybody was asking me on Saturday. So we're gonna do it. I had some people reply and say, "When is the gut bracket coming?" Because I do that every year for the SEC tournament. Let's just do it right now. All right, here we go.
Oh, this just got
This
me
is
fired
tremendous. This is tremendous. This is what you guys signed up for right here. Can't wait to piss you all off again. All right, here we go. Gut bracket. Here we have it. The chaos bracket, as Tyler noted in the comments. That's what I always call it, the chaos bracket.
Yep.
But I'm not going to make this the chaos bracket. This is just the gut bracket. We'll get to the chaos one soon. Here we go. 9-16, Mississippi State, South Carolina.
Mississippi State.
State.
Mississippi State. Chris, don't sound so excited. 12-13, Texas, Georgia.
Ooh. Gut says Georgia.
It's gut bracket.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Texas. I don't trust Georgia's scoring. You brought me around on that one.
Georgia.
What?
Vanderbilt, LSU,
Oh.
10-15.
Ooh. Vandy.
Vanderbilt. Arkansas, Oklahoma, 11-14.
Arkansas.
Yeah. Arkansas.
Real big. Kentucky versus Mississippi State.
Ooh.
That's a tough one. That 8-9 game, which they've been there before, by the way. I feel like I can't think of two teams that have played more 8-9 games in the past couple of years than Kentucky and Mississippi State. They played a couple times.
Mississippi State's 3-point defense is their Achilles heel. Give me the Cats.
Yeah, give me the team with half the building. But I feel like Kentucky's been a little shaky in that spot lately. Different coach. Maybe you can pass it off that way, but give me the Cats.
I think your guts are overthinking this because it's like we don't know who's going to be playing for Kentucky on March the 13th. So I have no idea here, but I'm going to pick for what Max said, Kentucky, just because of the 3-point defense. All right, Texas A&M versus either Texas or Georgia.
Give me A&M.
Give me chaos. Give me the Longhorns.
Oh.
I'm thinking about picking Georgia.
What is going on here?
I said I'm thinking about picking Georgia. Give me the Aggies. All right. Ole Miss versus Vanderbilt. Oh, we just saw this.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Ole Miss.
Give me what we just saw. Give me Vandy.
Give me Ole Miss.
Okay.
Missouri and Arkansas. Speaking of a game we just saw.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, this is the toughest one yet. But you got to make a pick. You got to make a pick. Missouri.
Arkansas. All right. Auburn versus Kentucky.
Auburn.
By the way, we all know why I picked Arkansas, right?
Yep.
Auburn is the pick. Tennessee versus Texas A&M or Texas, I guess, if you're Chris.
Go Tennessee. I'll go Tennessee.
UT.
Oh, jeez. Come on.
Tennessee. was going to see if you caught it.
I'm going to go Tennessee, too. All right, Florida versus whoever you guys have there. I don't think it matters.
Florida.
Yeah, Krusty, you see what I did there? I did this for you. Now you've got to change your tune all of a sudden. I'm on your side. Now what? Because we got Alabama versus either Missouri or Arkansas. Which we also just saw, by the way.
Yeah. I'll go Missouri.
Give me the Tide.
I'm thinking about Woo Pig here.
Do it.
I'm telling you, the Arkansas Razorbacks, it's that time of year. Alabama. All right. Auburn versus Tennessee.
Auburn.
Upset. We saw it once. It was close. Give me Tennessee.
Okay.
Give me Auburn. All right. And then who we got? Alabama, Florida?
Yep. Or Missouri, Florida. I already picked Missouri to get past Arkansas and Alabama.
Oh, that's right. You
Tough to
picked
do all
Missouri.
three of those. Yeah, I'm going to go. If I can't do a 1-2, that's just against my
It's
moral
the gut bracket.
code.
It's not the chaos bracket. We can do that another day. This is
Okay. Yeah, I'll go Florida then.
I may be confusing chaos and guts here, but let's just keep at it. Give me Alabama.
Okay. I'm picking Florida. All right. So we've got let's see. Chris has got Tennessee, Alabama, which we're going to see on Saturday. Max and I have Auburn and Florida.
Florida.
Alabama.
Florida. All right.
Oh, wow. Nobody picks.
All right. There you have it.
Oh, my gosh. Nobody picks. You got to love it. You got to love it.
Listen, just quickly, from a path standpoint, do you like Auburn's path better or Florida's path better? Because I think for me, I think it's a layup.
I don't like anybody's path.
Well, I'm just telling you. I think, I especially that quarterfinal scenario. Like it's that Kentucky gets hot. You never know. Then you got a tricky Tennessee team defensively. We've already seen them. I don't know. That's all I'm saying.
Did anybody have any idea what they were going to pick before we did that? Because I didn't.
Of course not. It's the gut bracket. We don't do any analysis. We just pick teams. So guess what? We all just won. We picked Auburn number 1 in our power rankings. You give us hell for that. So I picked Florida to win the gut bracket. That's what we do here. We always play both sides somehow. So, all right. That was today's gut bracket. The tournament's not played for another 2 weeks. We'll change our minds many times. We're out of here. Baseball coming up.
Baseball. We got baseball. If you like to argue over power rankings, come argue with us over baseball. Man, you think this one's tough? Good luck with that one, because nobody's losing on the weekends. And it's just, yeah. I mean, as good as the league is in basketball, it might be better in baseball.
Well,
as crazy as that sounds.
Let's hang on.
As crazy as that sounds.
Let's hang on a minute. Any other year, I'd agree with you. But is it going to be a historically great year for SEC baseball?
Guys,
I don't think so. Come on, Chris. Don't take it away from the best Ken Palm conference rating in the history of the civilization. Not even just basketball, civilization itself.
Yes.
This is the greatest conference we've ever seen this year. So.
All right.
My goodness. Unreal.
Well, we're going to talk about that over there. I'll do that in a minute, probably as soon as Max can get us set up. What are we looking at? 15 minutes or so from now, Max? What's our ETA?
We'll do it right after. We'll just.
I've already got it. I've already got it ready.
It's ready. Well,
okay.
Chris going to hop straight from this to that.
Let me see if my guys are ready.
Well,
you guys will know when they go live. I promise. We don't have to do that on air right here, but you will know they're about to start. So WDE, Chomp, Go Gators, Roll Tide, Woo Pig,
M-I-Z.
Go Cats, MIZ, Go
Hail
Vols,
Street.
like everything. We're going to say all the trademark phrases. That way you guys can't knock us for any of that. So who do we miss?
This was a fun
Hail
episode.
State.
This was a fun power rankings. We
Anchor
only got
down.
a few more.
I'm
Giggle.
I'm waiting to hear back from my guys. Either we're going to be going in about 2 minutes, or it'll
Horns
be
down.
10:30.
Horns up. Not horns down. Jeez.
We got to get out of here.
Go Dogs.
Enjoyed it.
Close us out.
Yeah.
Close
We
us
got
out.
one of my two ready, so I'm waiting on the other ones. And anyway, just stay put where you are. We're going to do baseball in a few minutes, one way or the other. Had fun.
Quinn.
Get them back on. Haters.
There's the
Quinn,
Quinn.
we did this for you. Quinn, we're going to do this bracket tomorrow, and I'm going to have Auburn as the national champion for the third straight time. It's okay, Quinn. You don't need to win the SEC tournament. You just got to win the whole thing.
I
All part of the
love
plan.
how that happened. Like we spent 5 minutes defending Auburn as the number one team in the power rankings, and then we picked somebody else in our gut bracket, and Quinn has turned. I mean, that was
It's a gut bracket. Gut bracket, there
It was
is
a
no
betrayal.
analysis. It is legitimately just what is your gut telling you. So that's it.
If you're going to pick, if Auburn is your team for the national title, you almost want them to lose that SEC championship. So mom and sisters and aunts don't watch their first college basketball game of the season on conference tournament day and then go, oh, look at Auburn's good. I'm picking them to win it all. And now you lose your bracket pool to your mom because she watched one Auburn game. Got to be thinking ahead, guys.
baseball coming in a few minutes. Again, as soon as we can get my crew together for that, Alfred Graham and I will power rank the league, recap the weekend. Hope you're here for that. Football coming tomorrow. Yeah, we're hitting it all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, please do that. Tell a friend. 10:30, it appears. Just getting the official word. So 10:30 for baseball power rankings. We'll see you then. For Max Barr, Blake Lovell, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching SEC Hoops content here at Southeastern 16.